Just look at Nancy Pelosi's insider trading deals. It is insider trading, and she keeps making up hundreds of millions of dollars.
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information he was received from you?
What are you saying?
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information he received from you?
No, absolutely not. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Now, in the wake of everything that we got going on, we got the tariff war that was going on between President Trump, America, and the rest of the world, where we got over 70 countries that have come back to the table ready to negotiate. Then we had China strong-arming and had the nerve to pull retaliatory tariffs on America. President Trump said, okay, we're going to play that game. I'm going to jack it up. Now, since that has happened, the markets went berserk. The markets performed better on April the 9th, 2025 than they had since 2008, which means it was record-breaking days. People made a whole lot of money. And in that morning, President Trump sent out a message to America. And that message has pissed off the Democrat Party. And now they've got their latest coup that they want to try to attempt on President Trump. But this one is going to backfire on him in a major way. And here's why. You got people like Adam Shifty Schiff, and I'm going to show you in this video. I'm going to show you the accusations that have been laid out by the Democrats, but I'm going to show you actual proof of what these folks have been doing, are doing, and how it can mean long prison terms for all of them. Now, let's check out this first clip here, and it's going to show you a flashback with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and then President Trump is going to be asked a question. Listen to what he says, and then I'm going to go into the next clip, which will really start breaking this thing down. So hang in there with me. Check this out.
Yeah, please. Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, they've been talking about tariffs for decades.
How far does China have to go? How much more repression? How big a trade deficit and loss of jobs for the American worker?
It says to the Chinese that their unfair trade policies have got to end. It says to the Chinese, this is a shot across your bow. Reform, because if you don't, there are going to be dramatic consequences.
How come when these Democrat elites want tariffs, everything's hunky-dory, but when President Trump wants tariffs, all hell breaks loose? Do you see this double standard?
I love this guy. Whoever the hell that is. That's really nice. I appreciate that question. No, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, everybody knew you had to do it, but they never had the guts to do it. It does take guts. It even takes guts for our country to go through it. That's why I say be cool. They were saying about, see, just be cool. It's going to work out. It's going to work out, and it's working out. I can tell you, working out maybe faster than I thought. But I said it's going to take a little conditioning. It's a transition to. It's really, I think it's a transition to greatness. It's going to be greatness. Our country is going to be. There'll be nothing like it, and people investing in our country, they're going to do better than they've ever done before. Yeah, please.
Chuck Schumer and Nancy.
So, since that whole explosion yesterday with everything going on, and you got Trump having China ready to come back to the table and renegotiate, and you got Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, they're leading this charge. Then, right after everything does well, the markets rebound. You've got the Democrats like AOC here. And look at this scary election denier post. Apparently, Dems are upset about insider trading. Who should we investigate first? Nancy Pelosi seems to be a great start. Who else should be investigated? So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez put out a post. Any member of Congress who purchased stocks within the last 48 hours should probably disclose that now. I've been hearing some interesting chatter on the floor. Disclosure deadline is May 15. We're about to learn a few things. It's time to ban insider trading in Congress. So on the heels of President Trump sent out a post that said it's a great time to buy and shared it with the American people. Listening, next thing you know, all these countries want to renegotiate, and President Trump put in a 90-day pause because the tariffs were taking place immediately. When the countries come back to renegotiate, he put a pause on it. The name of the game is not to hurt these people, it's to get them to renegotiate and also to build up a coalition that will band together to level the playing field against China, because all countries have been negatively impacted on the trade with China. China is the mass producer of products, but they don't consume hardly anything from anyone else. It's like with the deals we got into, we've lost, since NAFTA, we've lost 91,000 factories, tens of millions of jobs. So we lose 10 million jobs to China, And then over that same time span, we create 170,000 jobs in America from China. That's significantly imbalanced. So now they want to say that President Trump was insider trading. As a matter of fact, I want you to listen to Adam Shifty Schiff as he says what he thinks about it. Let me show you this. Let's look at Shifty Schiff. Listen to this BS that he shows. Then we're going to get into the evidence breaking down how this was the biggest misstep they ever could have done. And Pelosi is probably calling them and going crazy on them right now for even picking this fight. Check this out.
How concerned are you with this market fluctuation? And are you concerned that there could be members of the White House that are benefiting from it?
Absolutely. I'm writing to the White House to demand who knew in advance that the president was going to once again flip-flop on tariffs. And are people cashing in? There is just all too much opportunity for people in the White House and the administration to be insider trading, and you can't put it past them for a minute. So we're going to try to find out.
There's a good chance they'll just ignore you, though, right? Should there be some other independent investigation into this?
Well, I think Congress should do an investigation into this, but we're going to demand answers from the administration. I think you're right. They're likely to stonewall, particularly if they've been engaged in corrupt insider trading. But they won't be able to hide it for good. I mean, we know who's in the administration. We can look at eventually what people are buying and selling. This will come out. But an administration that has their own meme coins and is already engaged in self-interested dealing when Elon is doging agencies that are doing oversight of his own businesses, in that kind of corrupt climate, you have to assume the worst. And we're going to try to find out.
If you enjoyed this video, do me a solid and hit that like button, because I will never ask you for a cash app or a super chat, but you hitting that like button, it really does help. It helps spread the information around. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And once you do, all you got to do is hit the notification bell and select all. And that way you will be notified next time I upload new videos. Now, here's the real hypocritical thing about that. You got Adam Schiff, who right now is being investigated for fraud by him being a resident, I believe, in the state of Maryland, but yet being a senator for California, utilizing 2 different addresses in 2 different states as a primary residence, which you can't do. He spends some of his time, a little bit of time in California, but his primary residence is in a whole other state. Not to mention the Russia. He was censured by Congress. And how does he get punished? By going from a congressional member to becoming a senator. And now this man has the audacity to talk about, insider trading. What he is his big head on a small neck, as Trump ripped him the other day and was really, really roasting him. What he doesn't understand is insider trading is getting unknown information and utilizing it for your benefit against the markets. President Trump sent out a post on Truth Social to America, and it was also shared on X, to America. So how is that insider trading when he shares it with everybody? And what I think the real issue is, the Democrats are pissed because President Trump helped average people take advantage of the market for a change, because typically this information is unknown to you and I. But yet we have people like the topic of our discussion right now, Miss Nancy Pelosi. Now, the kicker with this is Nancy Pelosi has been looked at for years. As a matter of fact, here's Kash Patel as he lays out his information that he has on Pelosi and her trading. Let's listen to what Kash has to say about it. And then I'm going to come back with more evidence.
Just look at Nancy Pelosi's insider trading deals. It is insider trading. And she keeps making up hundreds of millions of dollars. So do dozens of other congressmen and women. So they know what's going to happen. They're writing the legislation. They're doing the funding. It's the same thing for the media circuit. These people, not all of them, but for the most part, live and breathe to get on these TV shows. I could care less if I'd ever do media again. In fact, I'd probably be a much happier guy. These guys are begging to get on your show for 3 minutes here and 4 minutes there. They're begging for relevance, and they're looking for any way they can get it.
Do you think I shouldn't have any government officials on?
I think they should just have people who care about questioning them neutrally. Again, not a Republican or Democrat thing. Like if someone goes out there and specifically lies about Russiagate, about impeachment, about insurrection, about the 51 Intel letter, call them out on it. But they keep having them on over and over and over and over again. Just look at Nancy Pelosi.
So as you see, Kash is on it now, knowing that the head of the FBI is well aware of the insider trading. Again, the Democrats' hatred for Trump, the TDS is so strong that they're not even thinking about the harm that they're about to do to their own people. Now, it goes deeper than that. That's just Kash Patel. We've got a mafia member who knows firsthand information about the Pelosi family, their dealings, how they operate, and Nancy Pelosi very well. Matter of fact, I'll share with you right now. Let's listen to mafia member, former mafia member. Man, his name slips me. Let me look at it real quick, because good grief is right there. Oh, you familiar with Michael Franzese? Michael Franzese. But let's listen to what Michael had to say.
Nancy Pelosi, I have a little bit of a thing with her because her father was hooked up with the mob in Baltimore. Sammy, am I right?
Another Maryland.
He got elected as mayor because we gave him help at that time. Nancy Pelosi has his characteristics. The woman has made $400 to $500 million. She's the best stock trader in the entire world. Okay, we go to jail for that, insider trading. Should they be held accountable for this or should they not? There you go, absolutely. Okay.
Now, that was Michael Franzese. You might not have known this, but 60 Minutes actually did a piece on Nancy Pelosi and her insider trading. And guess what? We're going to take a look at that right now. It's a short clip, but check this out, because it's like the worst kept secret that everybody knew. And now we know it too. Let's check out this piece.
And former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and her husband had participated in at least 8 IPOs. One of those came in 2008 from Visa, just as a troublesome piece of legislation that would have hurt credit card companies began making its way through the House. Undisturbed by a potential conflict of interest, the Pelosis purchased 5,000 shares of Visa at the initial price of $44. 2 days later, it was trading at $64. The credit card legislation never made it to the floor of the House. Congresswoman Pelosi also declined our request for an interview, but agreed to call on us if we attended a news conference.
Madam Leader, I wanted to ask you why you and your husband back in March of 2008 accepted and participated in a very large IPO deal from Visa. At a time there was major legislation affecting their credit card companies making its way through the House. And did you consider that to be a conflict of interest?
I don't know what your point is of your question. Is there some point that you want to make with that?
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, do you think it's all right for a speaker to accept a very preferential and favorable stock deal?
Well, we did.
And you participated in the IPO.
Well, I have many
and at the time you were
investments, but
Speaker of the House. You don't think it was a conflict of interest or had the appearance of a conflict of interest?
It only has appearance if you decide that you're going to have elaborate on a false premise. But it's not true, and that's that.
I don't understand what part's not true.
Yes, sir. That I would act upon an investment. Yes,
Congresswoman Pelosi pointed out that the tough credit card legislation eventually passed, but it was 2 years later and was initiated in the Senate.
I will hold my record in terms of fighting the credit card companies as a Speaker of the House or as a member of Congress up against anyone's.
So she didn't like that being called out. Now check this out. Excuse me. Pelosi, and this is congresstrading.com. Pelosi invested millions and made millions trading in stocks in 2021. 9 of her 11 investments were profitable. She's batting almost 82%, up 60% on Tesla, up 60% on Nvidia, up 31% on Apple since initial purchase on Friday close. And if you notice, she has not been one of the vocal ones going out there saying, destroy Tesla, tear it down. She's got Disney, Microsoft, Amazon, all of the typical, some of the best stocks out. And look, our Speaker of the House at that time, Nancy Pelosi, just somehow miraculously knew what to do and made some of the best trading decisions ever known to man. They literally consider her to be one of the greatest stock traders in the history of the world. Look at this one. Wall Street meme. Nancy Pelosi has now made over $1 billion trading stocks while working a $174,000 a year job. Look at the S&P 500 and look at Pelosi's trading. Now, you tell me that that is not evidence of insider trading from somebody who knows what's going on in Washington. It absolutely is. And I'm going to end it off with this clip from Tucker Carlson, where they've got a young gentleman who knows all about it. This gentleman's name is Chris Josephs. He started the Nancy Pelosi stock tracker app. He went on Tucker Carlson to explain it. Pelosi's trading $50 million to $60 million stocks at a time. She went from 20 million in 2012 to 260 million now. Let's check out what he has to say and how he can enlighten us. Oh, it would help if I unmuted the video.
Day. Yeah, I mean, again though, if I can snap my fingers and have it just go away.
Of course, but you can't,
sure.
Unfortunately. Yeah. So, okay. So you see this and you decide that this is going on, that there's corruption, that people, that politicians are supposed to be protecting and serving the country are actually using this information to their own advantage while the country rots. How did you discover that Pelosi was then Speaker of the House was particularly successful?
Yeah, Pelosi. So Pelosi gets a lot of headlines for obvious reasons. One, millions, and massively outweighs what the other politicians are trading. And I'm talking like she's trading 50 to 60 million while everyone else is trading smaller amounts.
What?
When she got married, I think it was in 2012. And there's a whole arc for her. She got married in 2012 to Paul Pelosi, ex-VC.
No, she's been married to Paul Pelosi for decades.
Oh, has she? Then when they got married, I'm mixing up. 2012 is when the Stock Act started.
Right.
That's when they had to start showcasing it. When she got married to Paul, they were worth around 20 million, their net worth. Their net worth now is around 260 million. So you're 10xing that. How? She's been a career-long politician, making 175K. Her husband's very, very successful in stocks, particularly tech stocks. It all started with her in 2020 when she bought Tesla. And this is when I personally started paying attention. And then you look back and it's like, holy shit, this has been going on forever. And that actually started back in with the Visa IPO. So with the Visa IPO, she and her husband were able to get privileged ways to buy in on the IPO. And no one knows how, no one knows why. And then the stock absolutely crushed it. So that was brought up on a 60 Minutes interview. And that was that iconic interview from the reporter asking her, like, do you think this should be allowed? Is this fine that you got in on the Visa? And then, this is 10, 12 years ago. Nothing necessarily happened. Again, 2020 comes around, COVID. So people already necessarily know about her. She now starts trading stocks again and is getting blown up on social media because while everyone's with COVID, what are they doing? They're on social media and they're trading stocks. So now everyone's like acutely watching these things and paying attention. She, in end of 2020, right after Biden got elected, she went and bought up to $5 million of Tesla calls. And I can go on forever about the details of these things. She's not just buying stock. Well, her husband's not just buying. She's buying these things called leaps. And what a leap is a options contract that allows you to buy a stock and be bullish on a stock at a much cheaper cost basis. So instead of you needing $5 million to buy, X amount of quote unquote risk in a stock for it to go up, you can actually take that $5 million and buy a leap, and it gives you a broader delta so that you can make more money. Yeah. It's essentially higher risk, high reward. So she goes and she's buying these leaps. She's not just buying the stocks in them. She buys leaps in Tesla at the end of 2020, right after Biden got elected. 2021 comes around, 2019 into 2020, because that was when Biden started. There's so many dates. But when Biden's first few weeks in office, he introduces the Build Back Better 1.3, 2.3, whatever massive infrastructure bill.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one?
Very well.
Part of that bill had tons of not only subsidies for the electric vehicle industry, but also money to build out and invest for the charging ports for electric vehicles. Because, you can't just tell people to go buy electric cars. You need to have the infrastructure. Yeah. So when you start following the timeline on it, it's like, okay, Biden gets elected. She buys up to $5 million of leaps, which are very.
Wow, man, I need to get the rest of that to learn more about that. But the point being is that, as you hear, with the Visa IPO, and she's not even just investing in stocks, she's getting leaps. Now, that's something that I'm not even familiar with leaps at all, but I'm definitely going to look into it now. But the purpose of me bringing this video is that you're going to hear a lot of chatter. You got Senator Murphy. They're all trying to call now for an investigation. But the good thing? The Democrats don't run Congress. They're not in any of the committees like that where they can call shots to even bring that investigation up in the House. It would require the Republicans to do it. And they're not going to do it. So what they're doing right now, as opposed to, just giving President Trump congratulations on doing something that everybody knows should have been done, including Nancy and Chuck, they were too scared to do, didn't have a Doge backing them up. And Trump is doing what Democrats used to want to do, what they used to champion, which is getting a trade balance with China and getting insider trading out of Congress. But now they want to try to accuse the man who shared the tip with the American public for insider trading when he shared it with the public. It's the most insane thing you ever want to hear. But nowadays, the Democratic Party, they're a clown show. They're not working on any legislation. They're not giving their voters any reason to vote for them. They're actually trying to use reasons to tell them why not to support Trump, as opposed to why they should support them. Because there is no valid reason why anybody would support a Democrat unless you're just miserable, angry, you hate America, you hate life, you hate Trump. Matter of fact, you even hate yourself, because to root against a country to fail where it can affect your mother, your family, your bottom line too, is diabolical. I call those people kamikazes, because they'll cut off their nose just to spite their face. But I appreciate you for watching this video. I just wanted to bring it. Let's share this video. Let's get it out there. And if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And I also want to thank you for watching this video. I want you to make sure that you stay safe, be great. And as always, I'm Brian Maxwell, and I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.